and welcome to the second half of our episode of Chocobo Chasers. You just heard our interview with Amelia Tyler, which was one of the more fun conversations I think that we've had. It's always so exciting to be able to get to do this, but when we talk to a gamer and somebody who really, I mean, Amelia, she streams, she does a lot of different stuff, and she's been a big gaming fan basically her entire life. And so I think we connect with people like that on just a different level than, say, these huge actors who they just don't necessarily have the time for. And so we get to bond on kind of this secondary experience. And this is not to say that we don't enjoy those other experiences so much, because we absolutely do, but it's definitely kind of a unique feeling when we get to have this experience. So like to say thank you, Amelia, for coming on to the show, because one, it's so special for us. That is our sixth person that we have had from Baldur's Gate, which is absolutely insane to say that the potential game of the year, we've interviewed most of the main cast. And I mean, if anybody else from that cast is interested in coming onto the show, we would absolutely love to have them. So that's
Imagine getting like J.K. Simmons.
Yeah. J.K. Simmons. We're gonna get
Jason
Isaacs.
Jason
Yeah.
Yeah.
That hey, we're shooting for the stars here. So we have a really fun second half.
I think Larian should just sponsor us at this point.
Hey,
huh?
yeah, let's just partner up. We're game. So for the second half of the show, we have a lot of fun stuff to go ahead and cover. As always, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna kick off with a what are you playing? And this week we're gonna have Eric go ahead and kick us off.
All right. So I actually, besides my competitive Valorant and getting that, I didn't play any Counter-Strike this week. It's just been some Valorant. I dabbled into Dune Spice Wars a little bit more. So it's made by Shiro Games, who also, God, they produced something else, and I had it up and I took it down because I really like the game. I'm pretty sure it's War Tales that they also made. And if you know me and you listened to episodes fucking weeks ago, probably not, it's okay. You'll know that I like War Tales a good deal. I probably put about 30 hours into it over, about a week and a half, 2 weeks, and I did find it enjoyable. It wasn't finished, so they're still putting out updates, and they just gotten to 1.0, and I played through that, but there's still some stuff, like some of the quest lines are a little repetitive, but this is almost set like you can do a couple different game modes. You're set on Arrakis, and you could play one of the few you'd be Harkonnen, Atreides, things like that, and you can basically do it like Command and Conquer style, where you build bases, you recruit units, and then you go take other small territories on Arrakis. You try to harvest spice. You play the spice market, and you try to like outstock people. I felt like I was on Wall Street Bets. I'm sitting here buying spice at low points and trying to sell high, and I ended up losing my first campaign because the AI outmaneuvered me on the spice market because I didn't pay attention enough to it. I was like, let me just get all this spice, and then I'll be rich as fuck. No, you have to actually play the market too, and expand militarily and things like that. But it's so far it was a very fun game, and I'm probably going to keep playing it for whenever I don't have anything else to play.
That's awesome.
Also hit the new Starship Troopers update. They made it so you can skip all the first missions on your level and you go straight into the base building part.
I do like that.
And it's just waves and waves of enemies over and over. And it was hectic because you get I guess the building materials every round. And as soon as we had it, people were spending it on stupid shit that we didn't need.
Into that one.
Oh, it was so fun this past weekend. We were having a blast with it.
Oh, that sounds amazing. Dash, what about you, man? What have you been playing?
So I finally finished Cyberpunk 2077 plus the Phantom Liberty expansion. I was pretty much just hovering there right at the last mission for the point of no return, I should say. So then at that point, it was just doing all the Phantom Liberty stuff and all the side gigs, and finally did that. Really great way to end it, and makes me wonder if we'll see V again for Cyberpunk 2, since that's already in early development. Like, are we going to be playing as a new character, or is it going to be V, or how? Because they kind of, like there's like they try to end it with that open-endedness that there could possibly still be a cure out there in the 6 months that you have left to live. So
Right.
I don't know. It's just something that I think, like I like closure. I don't like this. It's open to interpretation, or
Right.
you imagine it. Like, are we gonna go back to Night City, or are we gonna have like a whole new area? Because I know, like, isn't like the RPG like all Night City? Like, that's it.
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
Couldn't tell you.
I never played the tabletop, but I felt like, I'm pretty sure it's like Night City's like the core, like setting.
Location.
Like, I mean, could they take you to like Japan or New York or something? Because they talk about like all those other kind of territories. So it'd be interesting to see other places in this setting, because Night City's kind of like its own territory, district, and government and stuff.
Right.
But after that, got back on the Ghost of Tsushima. So almost done with Act 2, I believe. I got like most of I've done like the whole map already, done all the side stuff. So now it's just completing the main missions, and then I'll be hopefully on the Act 3, and we'll see if I can get that done before Spider-Man 2 comes out. But if not, I mean, I should be able to balance it.
Yeah, definitely.
But the big one is Modern Warfare 3 beta, where spent a lot of time on that, more than I expected. Initially, I was playing on PC, and then I ran into the issues that, I mean, is PC gaming probably like the best thing ever? Yes, but it also can have its own hardships, and that's where console gaming comes in. Because at least on my PlayStation, I know this game is gonna fucking work.
Everything is optimized.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know. It's probably my PC, because I mean, there's plenty of other people play on PC with no issues. But like, I can play Starfield, Diablo 4, Cyberpunk, all these other games that recently have come out, no problem. But if I try to log into like Modern Warfare 2 or 3, I can get 2 games in before my computer just craps on me. So I don't know what it is. I thought maybe it's my power supply unit. So I actually bought a whole new power supply unit, hooked that all up, and nope, issue still cursed. But I'm giving up on Call of Duty for PC, refunded it on Battle.net, and pre-ordered it on PlayStation 5.
Wow.
So and it took that adjustment period to go from mouse and keyboard back to controller, but I think I'm back to that point. Like, obviously, mouse and keyboard is just a whole nother level when it comes to like movement and versatility. Because I mean, you can only do so much with a controller, but
yeah, that's definitely true.
I mean, I don't see like. We'll see. I mean, like, at least I'm still dropping like 30 kills a game with controller, so it's not like I'm losing my touch with it. But I did end up doing a little bit more Modern Warfare 2 just before this call, because it's the haunting that just started today. This is probably the best event they've done in the lifeline of Modern Warfare 2. It's kind of funny how they saved the best right up until the game's almost dead. But I'm gonna be dumping money into this fucking game. Thanks a lot, you somehow managed to find a way to pull me back into this bullshit, because I'm buying Lilith, I'm buying Ash, I'm buying Inarius, and I'm buying Alucard.
Man,
so like
Dash just
buy a new one, you rich motherfucker.
Yeah.
I mean, the nice thing is these skins go into Modern Warfare 3, so I'm gonna be decked out just for Modern Warfare 3 already. And the funniest thing about Modern Warfare 3, and this is probably like the genius and scumminess of Activision. Here you have Modern Warfare 2, very criticized for all these things and aspects that the community hates. And then right after that, here's a whole nother game, sequel, whatever, that could have probably been DLC, but
could have been DLC.
It has all the fixes. It has 150 health instead of the 100 health, so there's a longer time to kill. You got slide canceling, reload canceling, and they're gonna put all that stuff in Warzone also. And it's just they kept all the stuff that the community wanted and packaged it in a whole new game.
Yeah.
And are you telling me that you couldn't patch any of this stuff into Modern Warfare 2?
It's not that they couldn't.
They
They
couldn't.
didn't want to.
Yeah, it's like it's genius. It's scummy, but it's just like it really got me thinking. I'm like, wow, they're really gonna be making a lot of money off of just making a bad game and then giving you everything you want in the next game, kind of thing.
I would expect nothing less by a company run by Bobby Kotick. So
he needs to get his multi-million severance and go away.
So I finished Dead Space this week, which first time ever playing the series, and it's ranking pretty high up there for me. In all-time games, in Game of the Year conversations. You know, as somebody who's played Resident Evil, I'm almost flabbergasted that and loves Resident Evil. I'm almost flabbergasted that I've never played this before, because it's Resident Evil in space, and especially like it's Dead Space remake reminds me so much of Resident Evil 2, which I love so much. And it's just an incredibly well-made game. Voice acting is great. It is horrifying and scary. I really couldn't ask for anything more. And it's right around that Resident Evil length of, 10-ish hours. And which is enough for me to play, kind of be terrified. And now I've got to play some more upbeat stuff. So I'm not all, I have Callisto Protocol, which is like Dead Space at home, basically installed on my PS5. And I will play it eventually.
We have Dead Space at home.
So, I'll play it eventually. But Dead Space remake, top tier title. It's going to have very strong consideration for me in Game of the Year race, at least to be part of the conversation, which coming up in, one of our probably pretty soon upcoming episodes, we're going to start having those conversations, because the Game Awards themselves are the first week of December. So we've got about 6 weeks till then.
How you feel about the fact that you wait for Dead Space to go on sale and now it's coming to Game Pass shortly after?
We don't need to talk about how I feel about it, but
there's a Game Pass plug-in right there.
I do feel comfortable in the fact that I will replay it more.
It's definitely a replayable game.
Yeah, and I would definitely love to try it on New Game Plus now that I've got all the weapons and everything, and I know which weapons definitely serve you a little better in the beginning. Also playing Final Fantasy IX. I have been on the record saying I'm not a huge fan of this game. People have talked very highly about it in the past, whether it be in our affiliate Discord for the Saints Block Party podcast. We love you guys. Or
me.
or Dash, or even just randos on the internet. Final Fantasy IX is a beloved title in the series. It just doesn't click for me for some reason when I play it. I'm trying to give it an honest chance to say, hey,
I think it's the aesthetic, honestly.
So that is definitely part of it. It is odd, and it's odd looking, and
it's like a chibi. It's like these are adult characters, but they look like children.
It's like a very, very apt way to put it. And so you've got Final Fantasy VII, which is kind of this steampunk but realism. Final Fantasy VIII, which is, I don't even necessarily know how to describe it, but again, realism. And then you've got Final Fantasy IX, which just totally ditches it. And Final Fantasy X literally goes right back. And so 12 is kind of a mix of the two, but it still maintains a little bit of that realism. 13 realism, 14, 15, 16 realism. So if anything was to be learned, I'm wondering if it affected sales, and therefore they kind of strayed away from that. And so there is potentially a Final Fantasy IX remake that is being made right now, not necessarily to the level of, say, Final Fantasy VII, but I am curious to see how they go about all of that. So played a little bit of those. I also played Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 beta. I actually played with Dash for a little bit, and I got my ass kicked, and it's got me rethinking my standing in COD, because I was really good at Modern Warfare 2. I was pretty good, and I feel like I'm not at Modern Warfare 3 so far. We'll see if maybe that changes, but yeah, I think that's about it. Oh, I'm also playing Baldur's Gate 3. I'm righting the wrongs of my first playthrough. and I'm having a way better time. So I'm in the
So
Temple
you
of
didn't
Shar
cause
right now.
you didn't cause the Emerald Grove to have a civil
I
war
didn't.
and they all die?
No, I did not cause the genocide of Emerald Grove this time. And I saved Damon. I got to romance Karlach. The world is as it should be. And now we're in the Temple of Shar. We're going to fight Balthazar pretty soon. And I'm going to do exactly what I did last time and cheese it. And I'm just going to shove him right off that pedestal with Karlach. No hesitation.
Oh, there's so much good loot you get from him, though.
I know, but
Do you have a mage in your party?
I am the mage in my party.
Use
Well,
silence.
I'm a wizard, but
Yeah, use silence on him.
yeah, but it's not him. It's all the people around him that are tough.
Man, fuck them. They're easy.
I'm probably underleveled is the thing.
We're not worried about them.
You gotta think outside the box like Eric does.
Yeah.
No, actually, I read this on something just randomly on Reddit. I was like, fuck, I could have used silence on him with Gale, but no, I just I went and muscled him with my paladin and smited him into fucking oblivion.
Have you seen like the videos of like people one-shot Raphael?
Dude, it's insane. The people who were able to like use Shadowheart to jump and beat the game in 5 minutes.
Shadow boxing.
It's just like fucking like y'all are fucking crazy, dude. The
No
one
matter
hits on Raphael are nuts.
Yeah, or just doing one character party on tactician mode, soloing fucking Raphael. It's ridiculous.
Absolutely nuts.
That's like the nerds who are like, oh, let me go beat the hardest bosses in Dark Souls with voice commands.
I'm gonna use a fucking little kid piano as my controller. Yeah.
Dodge, parry.
I got a friend like that who basically he can break any game he plays because he just thinks like that. Like he can like abuse the mechanics so bad, and then he gets bored of the fucking games because he can't play it without abusing it.
You almost look at it as like a test as opposed to like a game. And I think you have to just operate on like a different wavelength to be able to do things like that. I am not that way. I want a fleshed out full experience, and I will die like a million times if I need to. So,
I kind of like run into the same thing where it's like in Cyberpunk, it's so easy to get overpowered that the whole game just ends up easy after that point.
Yeah,
especially with a Sandevistan.
That's fun though.
Oh yeah,
it is very fun.
Especially when you get double jump and you're just jumping around like a fucking psychopath.
Have just a huge hammer and just basically turning into like a brute from Halo.
Oh, Mantis Blades were so fun with the double jump. I was just yeeting myself off buildings at people and then just cutting them down with arm blades and then running away.
It's a lot of fun.
The new police system is crazy.
Very Grand Theft Auto-esque, but I dare say maybe even a little better.
Yeah, like they're a little bit more like I guess it's funny about Grand Theft Auto police is they'll just straight up murder you. But like Night City, like they'll murder you, but they're like not gonna give up the hunt. Like Grand Theft Auto police will just like, all right, fuck it, he's gone.
Yeah.
No, Night City, like we're gonna hunt you down, motherfucker.
I've not tried my hands at trying to fight Max Tech or either. So.
Militech, yeah.
No, the
5-star police.
Yes,
yeah.
They are buffed as shit in this new patch. Like apparently they were pretty weak before.
Yeah, I don't actually even think I got a 5-star ever.
I think I only got 1 or 2 stars, and then it was gone in like 30 seconds. If you got like without like eyesight from them, you were good.
Yeah, this is like unlike Grand Theft Auto, where there's some missions that force you to be chased by police and have like high wanted levels. There's really not that in Cyberpunk. Like the police really aren't a factor at all. So
yeah,
it's only there if you kill someone.
Yeah, I just want them to leave me the fuck alone so I can keep doing my missions. So we have gotten quite a bit of gaming news this week. Some positive, some surprising, some not so positive. One of the positive things, depending on who you are, is coming from a not so positive person. Bobby Kotick apparently had an all hands with his staff at Activision and teased the return of a beloved gaming title, Guitar Hero, which, again, depending on who you are, I
take
have
it.
very fond memories of playing Guitar Hero with friends, Guitar Hero 2 and 3 especially. I remember getting Guitar Hero 2 for my birthday, and all of my friends came over to my house. We played it together and playing Freebird for like the final mission, and it was a lot of fun. As a guitarist, I was like, oh yeah, I'm so much better than you guys. I can do this. And then my friend who is not musically inclined whatsoever could just like, I was like, I fucking hate you.
Like the South Park episode.
Yeah, it's literally what it was like. It's like
I was soaring never higher.
Hi, no, I can actually play all these songs,
yeah.
man. We don't care about the real guitar, Dad.
Yeah. So the return is potentially incoming, and Kotick is actually on his way out. Dash kind of teased it a little bit earlier in the show. He will remain CEO through 2023, and then after that point, then we're going to get a new Activision CEO as they've officially become a part of the Microsoft Xbox infrastructure, which that deal finally closed this week after we've been talking about it for fucking months. I'm so happy that it's finally done because we never have to talk about it ever again. I'm also happy for the folks at Xbox because I know being a part of a company who's gone through an acquisition like this, it sucks. And when it's finally done, it just gives you clarity and you get to move forward, and projects that were halted can finally resume. And especially in gaming, like I'm sure there were some things that were waiting to be green lighted, and now you can finally pitch those to the higher ups. We can say like, hey, this is our idea. It's also very, very funny. So I saw somebody tweet this out, but Bungie, who was basically the first Xbox staple, is now a part of PlayStation Studios, and Crash Bandicoot is now part of Xbox. We're in a weird time right now.
Swapping wives.
Yeah.
How did Xbox originally get was Crash Bandicoot Activision published at one time or something?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Did you ever play Guitar Hero Live?
I don't think
No.
so.
That was like the last Guitar Hero game. And it even introduced like a new guitar button layout. Instead of having the 5 buttons, it was like three or 2 sets of 3 buttons next to each other. So you had like the white and the black. So you basically were doing like chords.
Huh.
But
That's
it was
interesting.
really interesting because it was a live service game. So you played like online basically against people, and like you'd have like leaderboards as you're playing these songs, but they had like these channels that cycled through songs, and it plays like the music videos while you're doing it.
That's cool.
But the problem with that was it was very microtransaction heavy, because if you wanted to play like any song that you wanted that wasn't on the radio, you had to use tokens, and you get the tokens by playing the game, or you can buy them. It was a very bad system. And because it was an always online game, once they shut off those servers, you couldn't you couldn't fucking play the game anymore. It sucked because I really enjoyed it. I played the shit out of that. Like it was like an hour a day.
Yeah, that sounds sounds pretty interesting.
It was really fun. I really am excited they bring back Guitar Hero. I know some people want Rock Band to make a comeback too. But
well, assuming that Guitar Hero is potentially successful, that would not surprise me in the least, because one, you get to sell a lot of tech, and that's like a big expensive purchase, so obviously the companies are making like quite a bit of money, but it's also you're buying like all of this for one game. You know, it's I think it's part of the issue is it's hard enough to sell like, let's say, a PlayStation VR 2, and there's a lot of games for that, but it's a $500 purchase. For Rock Band, I think it was like $300 for the whole set, $200 or $300 back when it like originally released. Because I remember Guitar Hero 2 was $175 when I bought it, and that was pretty fucking expensive. But it came with one guitar, and I mean that was it. Like we all just took turns, and it was fun. So it'll be interesting to see, because pricing is obviously just a huge part in today's market. So definitely something to watch out for.
They still got the Rocksmith Plus thing.
They do. And
Rock Band was
Rocksmith,
awesome.
yeah. Rocksmith is very interesting because you almost just learn how to play the
Yeah,
actual guitar.
that's the whole purpose. Is like you learn to play a real guitar, and I'm not musically inclined. Give me my controller, please. I want.
No, that's I have friends who utilize Rocksmith, and they say they have a really good time with it. So, one other bit of news that we got this week, which is Ubisoft is launching their own subscription service. This is murky territory for me because the parallel that we can see just from the name alone, obviously, in this is streaming. Streaming was supposed to be the thing that helped us cut the cord from cable. And then what happened? Everyone created their own subscription services. And now it's basically just as much as cable, if not more, if you want all of them. And now Ubisoft is launching their own subscription service. And I know there are the ones that have already been out. EA Play, like, is one of them. But Ubisoft obviously has a very large library, and they are pretty continually putting out new games, like at minimum 2 to 3 new games, and they're usually flagship AAA titles. Assassin's Creed Mirage obviously is the big one that comes to mind. There's the new Prince of Persia game which is coming out. So I think this is setting a little bit of a scary precedent, just in terms of, I don't want to see individual companies start putting this out, because I just think that there will be a push in the same way for streaming for just continuous content, and the quality of that content will not, and I'm not that I'm saying Ubisoft is the studio that is known for the greatest quality content. I mean, even in their heyday, the games were buggy, and they never necessarily reached the heights that we've come to expect from, say, Obsidian or Naughty Dog, or anybody like that. So I'm cautiously watching this, because I think that it'll be interesting if we do start to see a Capcom or Square Enix go ahead and kind of follow suit, or Eidos Montreal. Like, there's a lot of these gaming publishers that have these expansive IPs available, and they could potentially do something like this. It also depends on the pricing as well. I didn't see too much about that, and I know they just barely announced, so I don't necessarily know if they have that information available. But I don't know.
I mean,
curious.
I hope they kind of do something like what EA Play does, where it's just bundled with Game Pass. So
it'd be really smart. And you know what'd be smart is if you get, because just like you said, EA Play is bundled with Game Pass. PlayStation, here's your chance to kind of strike. We've been looking at,
I think they did have they have some sort of deal with Ubisoft already, because there's a lot of Ubisoft games in that PlayStation Plus service already.
So there you go. I mean, maybe that is potentially part of it. And I know that PlayStation did announce you can get movies now with their service, which is at least some added benefit, especially since they are going to go ahead and raise the price.
And I think it includes Crunchyroll subscription too, so I might have to cancel that and just link it with my PlayStation account.
There you go. I mean, if you're already paying for it, you may as well go ahead and get that expansive library as well.
Yep.
So back to some not so good news. We've actually got 2 back-to-back not so great ones. Best Buy has made the official announcement. There were rumors kind of swirling a lot over the last week or so, and they announced that they're getting out of physical media. So this does not include video games, luckily. But again, kind of similar to what I was just talking about with Ubisoft, I think this is starting to set a little bit of a worrisome precedent, just in terms of, we know that the cost to create physical games obviously creates an additional cost for publishers. So much so that some new games are not even coming out in physical media. Alan Wake 2 is an example of this. And now we are going to be in this situation where you're going to start to see retailers, and Best Buy is really just the first one. I'm sure we will start to see others. There will be some that will always remain in the physical media game. Amazon's the big one because they just do so much sales that way. So that they will always remain in the physical media game while it's around. But I think it's only a matter of time before we do start to see some of these big box retailers go ahead and move out of it, even in video games. I personally, I really like to have physical media as a collector's item. I like to have it for resale value to, hey, if I've got a buddy who wants to go ahead and borrow this game, I have it, you can use it and just get back to me when you're done. There's just a lot of different uses for it. And it'll be a really sad time, I think, to see if we do start to see that officially phased out.
Didn't Walmart announce they're going to stop selling Xbox hard copies here soon?
They
too,
did.
probably?
Yeah, that's a really good point. And it's also weird that they just announced one specific media type.
It's probably Game Pass related, if I had to guess. I mean, you got to think. I mean, it's probably hurt their sales, you know.
Yeah, I would definitely say so. And I don't think necessarily that Xbox is going to complain. One positive thing about that for gamers who are Xbox gamers that have a physical disc drive is you are going to see a lot of those games go on sale, and that's kind of the one positive about all of that is you'll potentially see just tons of these games go on sale from the big retailers. But it's also going to start making some of those games more expensive on the secondary market because they're going to be harder to obtain. So just one of those things, kind of keep an eye out, because just give the people the option for both. I mean, that's really what I think I think that if the issue is you want to save cost, then make your games $10 cheaper to make them digitally, or make physical games $10 more. Like, I honestly, there's not a huge difference for me paying $70 to $80. Just like there wasn't a big difference from $60 to $70. I know that video game cost is going up. Hey, I don't get me wrong, I don't want them to, but I'm saying as an option, just one of those things. Another bit of this is, I wouldn't say necessarily bad news, but I'd say it's a little sombering. The great Pete Hines is retiring. One of the pillars of Bethesda. And obviously you two are definitely more, let's say, large scale Bethesda fans than I am. How impactful do you guys think this is going to be going forward?
I mean, he's their main, he's the main guy on the ground. He's like their marketing guy, he's out there. He's always being interviewed and stuff like that. That's who people talk to first. He's the mouthpiece, basically. He's been there, and he's been there over 20 years. So he's got a deep relationship with everybody. Here's the thing, he's earned it.
Absolutely.
A lot of people are like, oh, he might be going to a different studio. I think he's just actually retiring. I mean, guy wants time off. I mean, you work somewhere 20, 25 years. It takes a toll on you. I've been with my job 10 years, and it's just like
it does.
It's some things kind of get monotonous, and the thing is he's worked on huge projects back to back to back, like Skyrim, Fallout 76, and then now you have Starfield, and it's just like, hey man, it's time.
Saw that development time frame for Elder Scrolls 6 and was like,
he was like, I'm not sticking around for this.
They also lost one of their main quest designers too. He's going somewhere. I forget the guy's name.
That's probably more impactful too,
but it was one of their main quest writers left too as well. That kind of got overshadowed by Pete Hines retiring. But I mean, hey, look, it's the same thing. Somebody's at a place for a certain amount of time. They want to move on to something else. This happens more often than not, probably in the video game industry, with QA testers and people who work behind the scenes. I mean, it seems to be a lot of turnover in the industry.
I think the only major change that Bethesda that could possibly change them as a company is basically Todd Howard leaving.
I would definitely agree with that. And I think that if that were to happen, man, I think that there would be a lot of turmoil. Just because it is
Will Shin is his name, the lead quest writer.
I'll be interested to see if he's going to end up anywhere else. I'm sure he is.
No, he's already said he's leaving for another studio type of thing.
Okay, Well, so I mean, good for him to land on his feet. You probably don't leave a job like that unless you're anticipating that move, to begin with. But it will be interesting to see how it does go ahead and impact kind of the future of Bethesda, because Bethesda is their next title will be their first one that's fully developed under the Xbox umbrella. People forget that Starfield, when it was originally announced, was going to go ahead and be on both Xbox and PlayStation. And then at the point, obviously the acquisition happens, they have the ability to go ahead and release on whatever console they want at that point, because no contracts, things had been signed at that point. So, now we're officially Team Xbox at this point. So I'll be interested to see kind of what they go ahead and do and how that shapes the future of Bethesda. And best of luck to both those guys. I hope they enjoy the change, and I hope it works out for the best. I would be remiss if I didn't go ahead and mention this next subject, because our very first interview that we ever did on this podcast was with none other than the wonderful Doug Cockle. For the unaware, the uninformed, Doug is Geralt of Rivia in the Witcher games. And for us to get him as our first interview was kind of the first step in this journey to make us realize, like, oh, okay, like we may be able to do some really fun stuff with this. And not that we weren't having a good time leading up to that, but when we first started doing this together, it was like, oh, maybe we'll get a voice actor here and there, and it'll be, something fun to do every once in a while. And here we are, and it's been almost 6 months actually. And we have done like 15 or 16 interviews at this point with some of the most talented people in this industry. Truly cannot explain how amazing that is for us, how talented they are, and how much we appreciate that. Doug being the very first one, obviously that's kind of a sentimental, special place in our hearts.
Very special.
And with that, Doug actually just announced a new project this weekend at EGX, which is kind of a British version of Comic-Con, specifically surrounded around video games. So his new project is actually D&D based. And we obviously are big fans of Baldur's Gate and the D&D universe. Doug announced, along with Ben Starr, who plays Clive Rossfield in Final Fantasy 16, that they have a new project called Natural Six. And Natural Six is a new D&D group where they'll be doing their own live D&D. And they actually did their first session live at EGX. They did, I think there's a group of 6 people, hence the name Natural Six. They have people from Baldur's Gate, Cyberpunk 2077, Xenoblade Chronicles 3, and Holly Bennett, who is one of the presenters for PlayStation Access, is also a member of that cast. So huge stacked cast. It's really awesome to see what they've got in the works there. We definitely wanted to shout out Doug, especially for all the support he's given us here. We really, really do appreciate that. And they have a Kickstarter out now. We'll be sure to go ahead and link it with the episode, because it's really exciting for them to be doing that. And can't wait. Honestly, it's going to be so cool.
Did you ever Did you ever watch Critical Role?
That's what I was about to bring that up. It's kind of impressive the impact Critical Role has now had on a lot of all this, because it's now hugely mainstream. They have the Amazon series Vox Machina, which fucking slaps, by the way, if y'all have never seen it. It's so good.
And I mean, that's kind of the thing, because when they started Critical Role, it's just they were just doing it off screen, and they weren't even streaming it for a long time. They were just a bunch of friends doing D&D, and then they got the idea, hey, we should just record ourselves playing it. So their first episode, they were already pretty far in this campaign, but that was the Vox Machina one. And then they started doing more campaigns, doing more. But I mean, these are all pretty notable voice actors, right? You got Laura Bailey,
Matthew Mercer,
Sam Riegel, Liam O'Brien. just it, and we're seeing that where now Critical Role got popular. Now we have Baldur's Gate 3 that's really big. We saw like the Baldur's Gate 3 cast even play D&D for the first time. Some of them I think were new to like tabletop.
Definitely.
And now we're getting something similar to Critical Role. So it's really interesting that we're entering like a new type of, because like D&D is real, and other tabletop games are really fun just to watch people in, because it's almost like you're watching a show or something, but it's not scripted. But because these people are so talented and a lot of them are actors themselves, they could act out the roles based on what they're given. So
Right.
I'm really excited for it. And maybe we can get an animated series based on this one too.
Be dope as hell. There's some insanely talented people. And one thing as well that you guys kind of touched on it a little bit is this D&D, I don't want to say like revival, because I don't think D&D has ever not necessarily been but a takeover, like legitimately. Baldur's Gate obviously is one of the biggest games of the year, if not the best game of the year. Stranger Things was also another one of those things that kind of catapulted, because so many people have played D&D, and for so long it was kind of looked as this shunned, like, oh, you play D&D, you play it in your mom's basement, or that's the kind of thoughts that went into that. D&D fucking rocks. So to anybody who disagrees, you're a fucking nerd.
I mean, even like you had like Stranger Things even help with the contribution to D&D's popularity.
Yeah. So I would just say it's a nice time to not have to hide that nerddom. Not that I necessarily ever felt that I had to. I've proudly been a nerd basically my entire life, and I can very much so embrace it, more so than I think any time ever in history. From like people who were born in the 70s or 80s, they grew up, they were expected to outgrow a lot of these things, which we are so passionate about, gaming and D&D, and we don't have to do that anymore. And so that makes me really excited. Like, I know I'll be a 40-year-old gamer in 10 years from now. Like, I know I'll be a 50-year-old gamer 20 years from now. And like, that's exciting, because games will also be better than they ever like potentially have been, hopefully, at that point.
Hopefully. I'm thinking like
hopefully. But it's going to be Activision loot boxes just everywhere at that point. But and there'll be some new thing that puts microtransactions to shame in terms of being just the absolute worst thing to ever happen to gaming, I'm sure.
Some company out there is going to try and make like the Ready Player One thing a reality, where your interface is just going to be filled with ads and shit.
It's going to happen. So one thing that we are so excited for this, and this is, I think as a group we're excited, is Spider-Man 2 is coming out this Friday. If you order digitally, it's going to be available Thursday night. It makes me so happy to be in the Mountain Time Zone, because it comes out 10 p.m. my time, so I can play for a pretty good amount of time. Took Friday off, took Monday off. I'm going to beat the game by the time we talk next time, and I'm going to be ready. I'm going to be ready to, I mean, spoiler free, obviously, but be ready to give a full review. I've read a few reviews, non-spoiler, to just get people's gauge on how they feel it is a progression of the previous titles. One thing that was I really liked about Spider-Man 1 is that leading into the game, it was all about Mr. Negative. That's the only promotional bad guy that they showed. They showed the Sinister Six a little bit in the promotional, so you knew that like they were there, but there was nothing about Doc Ock at all in the promotional material. I feel like we're going to get something similar for this. And Spider-Man's Rogue Gallery is arguably the best. Him and Batman, and so it makes sense that both of their games would be so good. But obviously, we're getting Venom. We're getting Kraven. Mysterio is a part of a lot of the side quests. You could potentially, like, the lizard is obviously a big part of the game, as we've seen in trailers.
Sandman.
Like there is a lot of bad guys who could potentially show up. Like, do we potentially get the Goblin? Do we potentially get Carnage? Do we, like, there's so many different people who could end up showing up, and that prospect is so exciting. So stay tuned for our Spider-Man 2 review next week. It is going to be awesome.
Now you're pressuring me to just do nothing but Spider-Man 2 at this point.
We're gonna have a spoiler chat in the Discord.
Fuck it. I'll play it. I won't have a lot of time this weekend, but hey, we will have a Saints free Sunday because they play on Thursday night and they're gonna get fucking murdered by the Jags.
I cannot wait to be disappointed.
Yeah. If you go listen back like 4 weeks ago, it was who that bitch. Now it's just like,
no, it's like, who dat?
I'm gonna be optimistic. You ain't killing this optimism.
Hey, I'm optimistic, but I am a realist as well. And we've hit
this is the type of game they'll win, and then they'll just be like,
and then
I mean, it's one we can win, honestly. Like, and that's just kind of like how our story always is, right? We can win these games. We
just don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
it's most Saint shit ever, as we always like to say.
Absolutely. So I didn't give you guys any lead up to this at all, and I don't even know if you guys know what this is.
I read the description. I was like, I have no idea what the fuck
before
this means,
our episodes,
but I'm here for it.
I give the Choco Bros a kind of description of what we're going to talk about in the episode, so that they can kind of have some thoughts ready and everything. And all this next topic says is Poop Slinger, and the 5-year-old in me is just trying not to burst out laughing, because anytime I say the word poop, I giggle. But I read about a story that I wanted to share, and I couldn't believe it. So I had to look it up myself, and it actually is true. So the reason this gets brought up is, for some reason, games that are not that good in certain medium, whenever they become less available, they become a valuable commodity. The reason this gets brought up is someone posted a picture to one of the subreddits that I follow, and it was Godzilla, the PS4 game. For those who are unaware, this game is very hard to find. It is very, very valuable. It's not a great game. It's fine. It's like a C+ game, but it's just there are such limited copies available that this game has become pretty kind of wildly expensive, and to the point where you have to pay $200 plus to find a PS4 copy in the wild. And you usually have to find it on eBay or some secondhand market where it's available. Well, in reading this, people kept mentioning Poop Slinger, and I thought that it was in reference to like maybe another Reddit post or something else. No. Poop Slinger is a game made by a fledgling video game production company. Couldn't even tell you who they are. They made this game, and they made a very, very small amount of physical copies. Again, this game is not good. It's not even like the Godzilla PS4 game good. This one's like a D- game, maybe even an F. It's pretty bad. But copies of this game are so valuable that they fetch anywhere from $500 to $800 per copy. And I just couldn't believe it. So I had to bring this story to the pod because this just speaks to the stupidity of people. And I wanted to say Poop Slinger on the pod. So
sounds like Derek Carr lately.
Oh my god, we can't get away from it, can we?
Oh my god.
I thought it was gonna lead into the next topic. It was
Oh.
kind of
That's a really good segue now that you say that. So, for our final topic of the show, speaking of Poop Slinger, a new Skull Island King Kong game has released. And oh boy,
Man,
is it bad.
I saw that Reddit clip of like one of the cutscenes.
oh my god.
I thought that was like some fucking discount version that somebody made a clip of, like, you know, like those stupid renderings they'll have of like movies, like, hey, this is what we're gonna do. I thought that was that. I'm like, and then I kind of started scrolling through. I'm like, wait, this is the fucking game?
It's a triple A game.
There's no way that was made by a AAA developer.
Let's look it up.
That got made by somebody who literally just took credit for it.
And it's funny because of the property, because it's King Kong Skull Island, and that's what's hot right now with the legendary Monsterverse. It's just like it got all this coverage too.
Game Mill Entertainment. Who the fuck is that?
Yeah, never.
It's like the same people who did the fucking Lord of the Rings Gollum game, like
Iguana Bee Studios.
I want to be not playing this fucking game. I'll tell you that.
so it's like,
and it almost looks like it would be fun, but like once I saw that cutscene, I was like, dude, it's already 20% off, and it came out.
This is a
today.
$40 game.
It came out today.
It came out today, and it's already 20% off.
Like, at least they have the dignity not to charge you $60, but I say $40 is too much.
$32.
Dash, they should pay me $40 to play this game.
They should have given us a key to play this game, so we could have told them to put this on the shelf till it was time to be a decent game.
Do you
Maybe
that's a giant crab. That looks pretty fucking cool.
Are we gonna have to do like the Razzies, but for video games, where it's like it's gonna be between this King Kong game or Gollum on which one of these? And speaking of,
we
Gollum,
would have to play that.
I'm not playing fucking Gollum. I'll tell you right now.
Yeah. Did you hear about the whole thing with Gollum where it ended up coming out that their apology was written by like Chat GPT, so they didn't even write their own apology?
I've used Chat GPT for work, so I have to, because
it's just for saying sorry we made such a shitty product. It feels disingenuous when you have
it totally is. Yeah. But do you think they care? No, absolutely not.
They're probably like defunct as a company now.
I thought they were going under.
Yeah, like
that sucks, but I feel really bad for all the people that work there.
Yeah,
I mean, you know, like.
And at what point during that did somebody just not go, hey, man, like, this is not a good idea?
So, I mean, you can't put this on developers because they're told what to do. And so they just do it.
They do.
So it always when in situations like this, you always got to look at the leadership because they're the ones who said this is what we want. They're the ones that manage the resources, the time, the schedules, and all that stuff. So if they needed more time or if they couldn't produce in that time, it was on the leadership to, you know, either make do or, you know, figure out what to do, like get more time, get more resources.
Yeah.
But you know, kind of like the Saints, right? You know, we gotta look at the top, right? And kind of just...
we're getting a lot of football analogies in here tonight.
We are a Saints podcast affiliate, right?
Hey,
I feel like we got to do more football related stuff because of that.
No, I'm not disagreeing there, but I think this is probably the most that we've talked about it.
We barely ever talk about football.
Yeah, aside from our sports episode, just funny to see. It's if you Google Kong Skull Island game, the first 3 articles that pop up are by Kotaku, IGN, and Metro UK, and their titles are Skull Island, new King Kong game is very, very bad. The internet is already roasting the worst game of 2023, Skull Island, Rise of Kong. And Metro UK says the worst video game of 2023 looks to be Skull Island, Rise of Kong. Dash, we may have to take one for the team at some point, and one of us play Gollum and one of us play Kong Skull Island.
Oh my god.
I gotta read this thing. As a young child many years ago, I had a few idols: Jackie Chan, Pistachio Disguising, and King Kong. I watched all the movies, for one of the releases during my lifetime. I saw it in theaters. Theaters, remember those? He goes, anyway, this game is an insult to Kong's memory. R.I.P. He would be turning in his grave. He was buried, which of course he wasn't buried. He was transported. Kong lives. Anyway, this game is horrid. Top tier garbage.
Oh man.
I fucking love the pistachio disguise he throw in there. I'm not that like that's one.
That's why I read. That's why I read that review. It's because
That-
of pistachio disguise.
So Master of Disguise. It's one of those movies where it's just so bad, it's good, right?
Why not turtly enough for the Turtle Club?
I fucking love Master of Disguise. I grew up on that shit, and I'm like, I'm watching this as an adult. I'm like, man, this movie sucks.
It's terrible.
I love it.
Dana Carvey just had all this build up from Saturday Night Live and Wayne's World movies and was ready for his leading role. And oh my God, what a bomb.
I loved it. I don't care.
Yeah,
But
the movie's
you're-
funny enough. It's not my favorite.
You're looking at the guy who has all the Sharknado movies sitting on his shelf.
I'm not hating.
You have you have what on your shelf?
All of them. Sharknado.
Man, get me the fuck out of here, Jay. Let's end this shit. Nah,
And
I'm
with
kidding.
that, no.
Hey,
With
hey,
that,
you know what's funny is George Martin put more effort into Sharknado than he has any of the fucking Winds of Winter. So
I fucking love that scene in the third movie because it's just like it's like
he was in the
everybody's
third movie. I thought he was in the first one.
George R. R. Martin.
Yeah, he was in the third one. I've never seen any of
Yes,
them.
yeah. He's just like I forget how it went. Like he's in a movie theater. He turns to the person next to him, and then a shark flies in through the movie screen and just starts eating his stomach out and kills him.
Jesus Christ.
I don't even know what to say to that.
And it's funny because like
One day he'll finish Winds of Winter.
we're going off
No,
on a
he
tangent,
won't.
but I
No, he
gotta
won't.
go. I gotta talk about it. So like
Nah,
the
talk about it.
the Sharknado movies end up being like this cult thing, and all these celebrities wanted like their little cameos in it. It was kind of hilarious. It's like, oh yeah, let's have the Hugh or what's the fucking guy who did the Hawk? Lou Ferrigno?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I thought you said Hawk. I was like Jeremy Renner.
No, yeah. So yeah, they had Lou Ferrigno in there as a Secret Service agent for the president called Agent Banner. And then he's talking about like how they wouldn't like him when he was angry as he's getting killed by a shark. Mark Cuban's the fucking president.
You've
There's
told
just-
me everything I need to know that I never want to watch these movies ever. Oh my.
They even had Frankie Muniz. I think he did like one of his first acting roles in forever in one of these movies.
Well, yeah, like he had some strokes or something. He actually
Yeah.
had like a legitimate health scare, which is why
Isn't he like big into racing now?
now he's a
Yeah,
race car.
he's a NASCAR driver.
I don't know how that translates, but I mean,
But
hey,
anyways,
He
tangent
had one of those
closed.
Disney movies where what was he was paralyzed and he did derby cars or something like that. You
All
don't
I remember
that?
is Agent Cody Banks
Malcolm in the Middle.
and
Yeah.
Malcolm in the Middle, but like those are the only things I remember Frankie Muniz from.
That's
Like,
it.
I mean, you fucking. I'm sure everybody's seen like Agent Cody Banks growing up, right?
yeah,
I
well,
didn't watch that.
Big
was
Fat
like-
Liar with Paul Giamatti.
Him and Hilary Duff.
Yeah. Eric's like, I fucking hate all of this.
Man, we're just talking about like all these horrible movies now. Aren't we?
We'll do a segment on one of these episodes coming up. Our favorite bad movies. Mine's Doom. Video game.
I mean, we could.
Dude,
We
That
need to-
movie's fucking awesome. Okay, there's a BFG in it. I won't fucking take this slander. Carl Urban, fucking The Boys.
I love Carl Urban, but he is not enough to save that movie.
I love the story for Doom, where originally it was going to be The Rock who was the main character, and
But he
asked,
wanted to use the BFG. He just said, "Yeah, I want to be the BFG." We probably talked about this on an episode. Before.
we probably did. I know we did.
I think a
one
little
where
bit.
We were talking about like best video game adaptations or what would
Yeah,
make a good
that's
video
true.
adaptation. That was like one of our first episodes. But I mean, it's something that we can keep talking about because they're still making game adaptation content, and we're seeing how it's evolving and how it's proceeding. And what's the next big property that's getting adapted?
In
I think
Warhammer.
Probably or Mortal Kombat 2.
Oh yeah, the Mortal Kombat 2. Now, Mortal
Hey,
Kombat 1,
That movie was fucking awesome. Besides the main character, get him the fuck out of here.
Yeah, hopefully he gets Johnny caged
Yeah,
in
I
Mortal Kombat
rewatched-
2 and just get curb stomped like to start the movie.
I rewatched it like 2 weeks ago, and
It's fucking awesome.
it's a good movie. Like, I enjoyed it. You know, like
Justice for Kung Lao.
yeah, I wonder if they'll do like some NetherRealm type stuff with Kung Lao and bring him back in some sort of way. But I mean, the fact that they had an actual fatality in the movie sold me. Like that.
Oh, they had
It's
a
dope.
few of them, and then the
Yeah.
one guy said fatality. I mean, Kung Lao said fatality after.
He said flawless victory.
Oh, flawless
Yeah.
victory. Yeah.
They did that
Super
to
dope, though.
They did it to Natara of all people too.
They it was definitely one of the better adaptations and something that I think Sonic was also, I know Sonic 3 the Knuckles series is coming to Paramount Plus, so that's another one of those things.
I forgot they were doing a Knuckles series. Oh yeah, we're getting Five Nights at Freddy's. I forgot about that.
Oh, that comes out in like a month too.
Twisted Metal was pretty good, man. I like Twisted Metal.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
fun.
Yeah, Twisted Metal was a great series. I hope we get another season because like they end it with setting up the tournament. So
Mhm.
like that's obviously the games have always been like the tournament. So now we get to see like this whole first season was like set up for all the characters, and like I mean all the characters were pretty great, but fucking
Sweet Tooth.
Sweet Tooth, yeah, like he was fantastic. It was kind of funny like how you have Will Arnett doing the voice.
Yeah.
And Samoa Joe doing the body.
Yeah. I love Will Arnett when he does his voices, maybe because I loved like BoJack Horseman.
Yeah.
Like you hear the Reese's commercials that he narrates, and I can just close my eyes, and all I hear is fucking BoJack.
I've just been a Will Arnett fan since I first saw Arrested Development. I was like fucking 13, 14 years old.
I need to get back on that Lego Masters grind. That was a pretty good show, honestly.
I never watched that.
We are on some very off-kilter tangents tonight.
Yeah, people who come here for game content are like, they're talking about horrible movies.
Yeah, what the fuck is this? They're talking about football tonight? No, but I think that's all that we had tonight.
Mhm.
It's been a fun night. Again, huge thank you to Amelia Tyler because it was really, really
she was so nice. Nice.
So cool. And we're really, really excited to see her in Hades 2. I'm convincing these two. Dash, you got Hades.
I've got to play Hades.
I need to get back
I need to get
it.
Eric to play it.
It's on my wish list.
We're
it was on sale
very,
like
very
a week
excited.
ago.
It's like $25, I think. I'm gonna wait for like probably a Black Friday sale.
Oh, speaking of
probably get
another game, Divinity Original Sin Enhanced Edition is $12 right now on Steam.
Ah,
There you go.
I think Amelia was in that, right? Or
she's in it.
she was in 2. Yeah.
Okay.
But you're playing another game from from Larian. So
was she
supporting
Malady?
I think it is Malady. Yep. I think
Malady. Yep. Malady. Yep.
Well, with that, I think that we're all set for tonight. Thank you to everybody who's tuned in. We always appreciate you guys, and we will catch you next week.
Have a good one.
Keep chasing, Chocobo Chasers.
See you guys.